back to Watches TV. We're here in the IWC booth with our dear friend Emily, Secret Diaries of a Watch Girl.
That's
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's the world's worst kept secret, but that is true. That is the handle.
I believe that calling Emily IWC expert is an understatement, to say the least. Emily, can you tell us a little bit about how your love for IWC grew?
Oh my gosh, yeah. IWC, it was my first love. My first love in the watch world. I remember going to the roadshow many, many years ago, and I literally said to them, like, what makes you special? And they said materials, and they gave me a 1,000-page book. And I went away and I read it. I read it over the Christmas period, like in the bath, carrying my 1,000-page book. No, it's completely true. And I came back and I said, look, I'm going to collect two things from you, and that's your ceramics and your titaniums. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've done today. I've got the very first ceramic watch ever made in white, which actually was by IWC, first crown operated perpetual, and anything they do in titanium also really excites me as well.
Oh, fantastic. And I know that you have it on your wrist. It's the big piece that we've been talking about so much.
Yeah.
It's irreplaceable from what I understand.
It is, which does make me quite nervous. It does make I had it on the flight with me here, and I took it out of my bag, and then I couldn't find it when I got off the plane, so my heart sank. It was in my bag, it was fine. But I didn't feel good about that. I didn't feel good. But yeah, look, this was, so this is the Da Vinci Perpetual Calendar, crown operated, created by Kurt Klaus in 1986, middle of the quartz crisis. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, the watch world's falling apart. So Kurt Klaus is like, why don't we just make something really technical and really complicated? And it was a success. So 20 were made in white, about 40 to 50 in black, and 10 of the white survived, and one of them is on my wrist right now. It is my prized possession, and it is the watch actually that, if the building was burning, it's what I go and grab.
Yeah, I believe you. And you know what? I actually looked back at family archives, and turns out that my grandfather's watch is a gold version of the Da Vinci, which is why I loved it so much the first time you showed it to me, because I mean, it's such a family watch, and unfortunately it was stolen. So yeah. We've got, this is the trauma from any watch collectors. We're all afraid of that happening.
100%.
But the ceramic version is really putting the gold version to shame.
No, they're all equal in their own way. But no, I love this thing. And there actually is one or two, actually, that were made with silver pushers for the Italian market. So there's niches within niches within niches. But if I had to summarize IWC in a watch, maybe that's selfish because it's mine, but I would say there is no more IWC of a watch than the Kurt Klaus crown-operated perpetual calendar, in my opinion.
If I had to summarize IWC in a watch, it would be Emily's watch. So, talking about ceramic, they're pioneers in ceramic, of course, and we know this, and we are both big ceramic lovers. I know that you've had a chance to see the new releases already. What has struck your heart?
Look, I don't want to be too obvious, but it is, of course, the Ceruleum. I remember when Chris teased that a few years back. I don't remember who wore it on their wrist, but I was so excited. I mean, come on, a fully loomed... So you basically take the powder of the ceramic and combine superluminova somehow with that. But not only that, it's the full case, which is fully loomed. The strap is loomed, the dial is loomed. It's just a feat of engineering, which is ultimately, I think they're doing 250 pieces. It's just very IWC, very cool. It's not particularly legible because I don't think that's the point, right? It's just like a full white watch. But it's big time. They don't need to do it, which is what I love about IWC. It's the things they don't need to do and aren't necessarily even commercial angles. There's 250 pieces. But nobody else has ever done it. So IWC said, we're going to take white ceramic, which was us, and we're going to loom the thing because we can. Because we can. And that, for me, is the spirit of IWC.
No, I think it's brilliant. And I want to know, how light is it? Because it feels like super, I mean, at least it looks aesthetically super light, but is it really as light as it looks?
That's a great question, really. I would say that the ceramics are quite light, but then you've got usually on the reverse, you'll have either a sapphire case back or steel, which can add weight. But look, they are super versatile, light. And the thing with ceramic is that it never feels old or beaten up, because this thing is a lot of years older than me and looks brand new. So that, it's completely, I think, a marvelous feat of engineering. And then you put into that next to the 41mm perpetuals that they've done in the white, or 42mm. It's just incredible. They look good, well sized. I think really appealing to like a modern sizing. I also have a 46 point something mil big pilot, so I like a big IWC watch. But I also love that about the new the vertical drive.
Yeah.
Come on, we can't not talk about the vertical drive. Did you expect that?
It's a space flight watch?
Yeah.
Are you
The space
kidding?
watch, the
Space flight watch. What do you mean?
Like, it's just insane. Again, I really didn't see that coming from IWC. They've obviously, over the past few years, spent a lot of time in space and putting watches into space, and I've noticed that, but I didn't expect this watch. And what I really like about it is called the vertical drive because the wheels are driven vertically, so that you can operate it in a completely different way. And same with, and I should have also mentioned that the crown operates perpetual on these. If you go forward a day, it's tough, you have to leave it. If you go forward a year, it's tough, you have to leave it, you can't go back. But on the new perpetuals, fear not. If you go forward a day, a year, 10 years, you can just go back again. But yeah, the space watch, I think we're dubbing it, it's just really cool. The way that the levers work, the way that the crown is just non-existent and you wind it. I think IWC have done something which you don't always see from brands, which is just do something different, out there, and completely new. And the man himself is Mr. Her.
And I mean, again, they're true to their word. Do it just because you can.
Just because you can. And I love that they've gone full bore IWC. Not like, hey, this watch theoretically could be used in space. They've tested the damn thing. They've had people literally in space with it. I mean, again, don't need to do it, but you do it because it's what the brand, if it doesn't stand for something, or if any brand doesn't stand for something, in bad times you wash away. Whereas, at least in good times everyone buys, but in bad times who stays around? And I think you have to have absolute clarity of vision. And for me, the Chris Granger Her era is, he's really lent in onto ceramics. He has, look, and this is just my opinion, maybe people disagree, he has brought horology back into IWC, the Eternal Calendar, again with the Space Watch, we're really playing around with technical innovation, and that I think will really define his era, and we're seeing it again this year.
I'm so excited. So I think you're going to take us in the back and show us a little bit.
We're going to go in the back.
Yeah.
We're going to go look.
Geez, see all these watches we've been talking about.
We're going to take a look. It'll be fun.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for taking us through IWC together.
Anytime. Thank you.
So we've made it to the back, and we've got our hands on the novelties, which is really exciting.
Indeed. I think we have to start with the star of the I don't want to say the star, there are 2 stars for me, but it has to be the vertical drive Venturer. Not something I remotely saw coming, and I swear it's completely true. I had no idea what IWC were going to do. I saw nothing before the world did. What a thing. I mean, what a thing. I just spoke to Chris about it. It's been in the works for 6 years. IWC, of course, have been pushing into space, putting their watches into space. But they were all pilot watches. So in true IWC spirit, we talked a little bit about the spirit of the brand, at least for me, being pushing technical boundaries just because they can. They created a watch that is tested in space, meaning it's quite literally been to space, banged around, and it's fully functional. Everything about it is designed to be used so that you could wind the watch with your gloved hand. You flick the switch or the to flick into the gears. It's a cool thing. It's a cool piece of engineering.
I mean, it's literally meant to be worn with a spacesuit, which is crazy.
It is. When you think people are going to, I certainly will buy this and sit behind my laptop or watching Netflix on a Thursday night with my Domino's pizza.
Wait, so you're not traveling to the moon anytime soon?
You know what? If IWC, I did ask Chris. Apparently he's on his way to the moon. If IWC would like to take me to space, I wouldn't say no. But otherwise, I think I will be eating my Domino's watching Netflix wearing it. But I'll feel cool. John Mayer said something which really sticks in my mind. It was in a Talking Watches interview, and he said, "Our watches sometimes are the aspirational version of us. They're the person we wish we were or could have been." And I love space. My professional career started out in space and satellites and security, that kind of thing. And I have a real affinity for space. So seeing my favourite watch brand do this, it's a special moment.
No, and it's stunning. I think it looks super sleek, and it's as you said, it's really light.
Yeah, super light.
And the rubber strap mixes perfectly with the ceramic. I think that also the binding, and because ceramic's not just ceramic, it's also different binding materials that I think we're pushing on every model.
Yeah, and another thing that IWC maybe don't shout about all the time is everything they do is Pantone matched, which means that if you get, you pick up a full woodland green watch, everything in there is Pantone woodland green. which is really cool. So it's not just like, a green strap put onto it, or it's a shade of black but it's not quite the right shade of black. Everything matches. Again, a cool detail. But Chris, I think, is an architect by background.
Oh, wow.
I think that's how he started. And when you spend time around him, you see his perfectly cut suits, you see the shoes. Like, he's a very sort of put together person. You go into the boutiques, you feel that, and I think in the watches you really feel that as well. Again, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, everything's curated.
Curated. There you go. I don't have that many words in my vocabulary, but if I did, I would have used that one.
I believe that we have something else coming in.
Oh, it's sneaking in the corner.
Oh,
It's sneaking in the corner.
beautiful.
Special deliveries. I mean, look at that. Look at that thing.
It is stunning.
Side by side.
Stunning.
These are my 2 picks for sure. Not to say that I don't enjoy the rest, but if I had to be honest to myself and say the things that I ran to the booth and was excited to see, this is my first appointment of the day, of course. Flew straight in, 6:40 a.m. flight, straight to IWC. It has to be these 2. When this got teased a few years ago, I really don't remember who was wearing it, but I hoped and prayed that they would bring it out. And to see full ceruleum, so I believe it is, I'm not an engineer, but combining the components at the start of the ceramic, the powder, with the Super Luminova. And actually, when you play around with the loom, the straps loomed, the dials loomed, the case is loomed, everything is loomed. There's not a detail left behind. And I think something in the movements loomed. Sorry, the IWC logo. I think that's also loomed.
No, and the monochromatic look, it's so sleek. I really want to see it in the dark. I haven't seen it in the dark yet.
There is a dark room. Do with that information what you will. There is a dark room around the back.
But I think we're back with, there is this huge rise of smaller dials, smaller watches on the wrist. And I think that I'm feeling a bit of a shift this week, especially, into bigger dials in general. We're kind of, being more bold on the wrist. And I'm also seeing a bit of shift in ceramic uses, so...
Yeah, I mean, everyone dabbles in ceramic. IWC started it, is the way I like to frame it.
Paved the way, pioneered.
I am paid not a single sausage for saying that, just to be very clear. This is my personal opinion based on my personal collection. Look, other brands doing it, and they do different things. I love AP, Chanel with the J12. Of course there are other things in the market, but for me it's the OG, right? It's going back to that sort of thing. And one thing I love about IWC is you can buy, and I have worn and loved the 5002 Big Pilot, 46 mil, really based on the original specs. And now we're seeing a slight downsize, which is nice, into 41s and 42s. That's still not small, right? But in IWC terms, having that presence on the wrist is part of the charm, and it's sort of part of what you buy into the brand for,
Yeah, and I think it matches the brand identity, which is, it's a bit manly, and it's manly and proud and bold, and you love your watch, and you want to show it, and you want to see it, and you in French we say tu l'assumes, like you own it in every sense of the word.
That's cool. Yeah. Would you use that in a way, the way they're dressing, or the way they've just owned that thing? Quite a spectrum of 1986, 2026, which is, how many years is that? 40 years? Is that 40 years? I think it's 40. We're going with 40 years. It's 40 years. You start here, Kurt Klaus, first crown operated perpetual counter, first full ceramic, like proper ceramic watch created by IWC. It looks brand new, and then you see the evolution of that. Now this is filled with Super Luminova, and this is designed to last in space. Super cool stuff.
I mean, honestly, did I really oversell it when I said that it was an understatement that you are an IWC expert? I think you can tell also that the brand is true to itself when you look at a spectrum from 40 years ago to today, and something that's so futuristic. Thank you so much for walking us through these new releases.
Thank you for having me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Viva watchmaking.